see where we're at. We have an engine. It'll be running soon. We have a transmission. We have a rear end. We have brakes. Just gotta run the lines, wheels and tires. We are not gonna worry about this. So, short list. Gotta make the engine run. Make the transmission shift. Well, we get this in there. That'll do that. But we do need to put mini spool in. So we have the good old-fashioned burnouts. From both wheels, right? Let's see, seat belts. Yep, they're gonna make us have those, so we'll just put another question mark. Battery, that's as easy as going to the store and getting one, because we are now 20 days. Can we do it? Well, I'm feeling tired and dirty, and so's the car. So maybe let's give her one more bath before we finalize everything for No Name Nationals. We've got our LS engine out of our 2005 Suburban out of the car. We've got our TH350 that's been mocked up in place, still bolted down. But what we need to do now is separate them, get the proper flywheel on the engine, get the torque converter in the transmission, and then just clean everything up and get it ready for No Name Nationals. Thanks for watching. Be sure to head over to buffsgarage.com to get a hat or a t-shirt, maybe a sticker or a keychain. We appreciate all the orders, and it keeps us working on projects like this so you can have content to watch. So with just a few weeks left, let's dive into this project, get it back in the car so we can be ready for No Name Nationals. That's better. So this flywheel is from the 5.3 itself and will not work for the application. So what we need to do is set it up with a flywheel from a 6-liter, which I actually have back behind that ladder. And that flywheel and spacer should work for our application this time. So let's get that apart and get the one from the 6.0 over here, put it in, get our torque converter in place. We should be able to put this back together and hopefully it works. Okay, our goal is to get the torque converter up into the transmission. When we get it in there, we should hear 2 clunks. That's to ensure it's engaged into the pump. And then we'll start mocking up the new spacer and flywheel onto our engine so that everything will mate back together. There we go. Only a little bit of mess there. We got our 2 clunks, which is what we're looking for. And that new piece slides right over. It slides into that and slides right over that. Should be good to go. Alright, we've got all 3 of our bolts. Make shape the flywheel just a bit. Let's see if we can get them all in there. There we go. Now this 6.0 flywheel sticks out just a little bit more than the 5.3. 5.3 is pretty flat, and the 6.0's got a little give to it, which takes up that extra space for the spacer that we added to the engine. I may have to shim it just a bit with some washers to make sure I get really good engagement, but I think we're on the right spot here. So let's get this flex plate. I keep saying flywheel. I mean to say flex plate. Let's get the flex plate back on our engine. There you have it. Flex plates in. All right. Okay. So that's mated now. Just needs a little cleanup from getting dirty. But we'll get on that. Now that we're bolted up, we're going to go back in and put our flex plate bolts into the torque converter. But before I do that, I want to address this. I believe this is a non-adjustable, and we need this little part right here that has an adjustment on it. We're going to pull this one out and switch them out. Got so dirty under the car. Alright, we're going to pull this one out. And we'll save it for a rainy day. Put this one in. There we go. This will hook up to vacuum, and we've got some adjustability for our shift points along the way. The other issue we have is this cable right here, and unfortunately it has seen better days, and since we don't have the mechanism to make this work with our LS, we're going to remove this, and to do that we're going to end up having to drop the pan to do it. Alright, now we're going to put our block off plate on there, which includes a new bolt and a seal. Go. Got this, we got that. Let's work on some lines. Got the nut tightened up here. We got our new shift bracket for our TH350. We are in park. There's reverse, neutral, there's drive, there's 2 low, there's 1. All right. So once we get it in the car, we'll get everything hooked up and hopefully be able to use the original shifter to make that work. Let's see. All right, we got the engine and transmission up in the air. Now it's time to line up our converter. We've got just a tad bit of space between the flex plate and the converter. And I was advised by guys who have done this before to just shim it with a few washers. I think I've got the right combination here. Let's see here. Alright, there's one. Alright. Well, the good news is it's already pretty well aligned. See if it needs this little bit of space here. All right, finish her off here. I think they're all pretty happy. All right, now it's time to clean this block again, fix all the spots we missed. Hey Buff! Hey Buff, why don't you give me some help? I can't right now. I'm busy. You're what? I'm busy. Eating ice cream. Ice cream? Oh, it's on. Well, it's about to rain outside. I got the shop cleaned up a little bit, but I thought it might be fun to do some air ride gymnastics. She's noisy. That was fun. Well, okay, we're back at our 2005 Donor Suburban. It's time to pull the wiring harness out so that we can get it slimmed down, get all the extra wires we don't need out of it, and then put it in the Grand Prix, because it's time to make the motor run. We can't do that without this wiring. So let's get after it. Drive-by wire. There we go. down to just what we need to run the car. Almost as long as the car. And just like that, we have fresh kill. Now understand, we're only going to use a handful of the wires. But I pulled the whole harness to make sure I had everything I needed. I will say that I cut the transmission wiring because we're not using electronic transmission. However, I do know how to put it back together. All else fails, if I really needed this harness, I could buy another one on eBay. But for our application, I won't be using this, so I don't need this. I could have gone under there and unplugged it all, but to be honest, I'm going to go snip it up there anyway, so I might as well have done it here. This is the part nobody likes. Nobody likes wiring. Personally, I do like wiring, but this looks a little overwhelming. So I'm going to get out the schematics. I went to lt1swap.com and everything is listed. So I'm going to pull those schematics, start peeling apart this harness, and get it down to just what we need to make that car run and drive. Later we can add components like air conditioning, cruise control. All of those things can be ran by this harness. But for now, let's just make it run and drive so we can get to No Name Nationals. Let's go. Looks a lot like a Pontiac symbol. Guess I'm on the right track. What you're looking at is a thinned out wiring harness. All those pinks I need to hook to ignition power. I've got a purple starter wire there. That and that will hook into the ECU. And then that's one of my powers. There's my ground. And then all of these go to the various connections on the engine. This is all the leftover scrap and of course all the leftover wire. So it's better than it was. So I got a lot of cleanup left to do. Just look at her. Here's my new fuse and relay panel that I just built thanks to lt1swap.com. I was able to duplicate it pretty well. And now let's get it in the car and make it run. So we're back at the hidden honey hole because I forgot some parts. That's the original radiator to the Pontiac. I'm pretty sure it's not going to work, but it's important to have for me. And he also found some matching hubcaps. Not that I'm going to use them right now, but it's, again, part of the car and part of its history. So I'm going to pick those up and take them with me. That is one massive radiator. I mean, if it doesn't leak. Oh, I'm pretty sure it's going to leak.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared, just
So getting the engine to fit has been difficult, to say the least. I don't know why it fit so well the first time. Should have just put it in there then and left it in. But now I'm mocking up these brackets so that they'll fit the angle. So of course I made my cardboard template how I want these to sit in the car, and then transferred that onto the bracket. And now I'll cut the bracket, weld it in, and that engine will be mounted. Crack. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared, just open up. Don't be scared.
Well, they only make 34,000 total, so I'm sure, you know, that was with, you know, the 318, and they also had a 3-speed automatic too, you know, and they had the 4-speed, and then they had three cars, and they had a handful.
with the engine and transmission in, I need to get into the wiring so that I can use the old key to start it, hopefully. If not, we'll just push button it, doesn't matter. But in the meantime, I'm gonna work on seeing if I can put a seat back in, and that'll just give me one step closer to having this ready for No Name. Still gotta fix that. Dusty. Vroom, vroom. The hood's not gonna fit. Dang it. Well, there you have it. Engine's back in, all painted up pretty. Everything's sitting pretty good, but we have two problems. Number one, the truck oil pan's still on there. So when the car's fully laid out, the truck oil pan sits on the ground by about that much. So obviously we're going to have to do the Camaro oil pan in the future so that we can lay the car out and it'll still roll without dragging the oil pan. The other issue is the truck intake. As you can see, the truck intake sticks out of the hood. So for No Name Nationals, we won't be running a hood, which is fine. That's just one more thing I had to worry about in the next, I don't know, couple of weeks. I don't want to deal with that. So later on down the road, we're going to put the Camaro oil pan on. We'll put a shorter or low profile intake on the engine. And that way we can put the hood back on. Hopefully we can free up the hood hinges or buy new ones. But the last bit of wiring is going on the engine. The ECU is back here and needs to be just a few little wires buttoned up. Throw some fuses in it, put some gasoline to it, and we're going to fire this thing off. And we're going to do it live. I say we, me in the car, and you. You guys have carried me through a 90-day, by the time we hit No Name Nationals, it'll be 90 days. You've carried me through a 90-day build on a car that sat, now I've found out, well over 30 years, almost 40 years, sitting in the spot. And I kept saying 50-year-old car. It's actually almost 60-year-old by next year. I lost an entire decade. Just understand, this is almost 60-year-old car. It sat for almost 40 of those years, which explains the low mileage. Don't know why it was parked, but we have found a few things along the way that would lead us to believe, okay, the steering was a little off because of that bushing that was missing on the control arm. We had a lot of oil leak on this side of the car, plus underneath the car on that side. Probably power steering pump, but I don't know. I don't know why it was parked. It's a shame that it was parked. This is a cool car. But with your support and going to buffsgarage.com, I was able to get this car back in the state it's in, and by No Name Nationals, running and driving better than it ever was. So thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for hitting up the merch. And I don't want to forget all of the support from my subscribers, from my friends, the guys that got my midnight texts saying, hey, I need some help. The guys that have shipped me parts just because. So the folks helping me out obviously are all my support folks. You got John Wilburn, Jeff from Two Hacks, Jay from Irish Outlaw Garage, Ray from Punisher Le Mans Garage. These guys were either available by text or gave me parts or gave me advice. I appreciate all of you. I got Hunter from Sand Mountain Ballistics, who gave me numerous pieces of information, would stop what he's doing to send me schematics or photos, whatever he could to help me out. I got Todd from Flat Tires and Misfires, who sends me parts. Awesome. Thank you. And most of all, I cannot forget my wonderful wife, who has endured this entire process. She's dealt with all of the boxes coming in from Amazon and eBay and all the other suppliers, and helped out with cleaning the car, fixing the car, funding the car. She's just been a tremendous companion and support person throughout all of this. So I cannot forget her most of all. And I know I'm missing people, but to all of you, thank you for getting me this far, and I will see you on the live. Hey everybody, just remember, I'm going to No Name Nationals. That is September 30th and October 1st in Sikeston, Missouri at the Jeffers Motorsports Park. This is a first ever event of YouTube car content creators coming together in a central location in the US. We're celebrating cars, we're celebrating content, we're celebrating each other. This is a huge car community, and if you haven't seen it, hashtag No Name Nationals and check it out for yourself. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in Sikeston.